whatever you want. So, well, as they announced, today I will talk about user experience metrics and measure of teamwork. You will understand all about it in a bit. First, if you want to tweet about this presentation, this is my Twitter @mentioned, and the hashtags I use are UX with Esin, and you can also add UX metrics if you still have space after all these characters. And today's hashtag is DFIST. And Google Developer Groups is at Google Developer GDG Istanbul. So, at the end of today, after 40 minutes, I would expect everyone to actually have a faint idea about we make a product or the product experience altogether, and therefore we measure it together. I will talk about myself first. Who am I? Why do I find myself worthy to speak in front of all these nice people? What is user experience? I will start from very basics. Most of you probably know what it is. I will tell you about my definition. Then I will tell about what are metrics for user experience, why we measure them, how we measure them, why it should be a teamwork. So this is me. It was better weather last year. I did sort of design schools and studied industrial design engineering. I did interaction design masters. I ended up working for a design consultancy. Then I switched to a corporate banking IT environment for Denizbank in Tartek, and then to Garanti Technology. Last year, I changed my focus to working freelance and focusing on startups. So, what do I think user experience is? Today, the definition I will use will hold a group of interactions that will have a context, that is very important, a time frame should be limited, goals, needs or dreams of a user, and interactions, multiple interactions, will form a user experience. Therefore, I expect the product to be in the middle of this, to be the object of this. So, you are in a presentation room. It's the 3rd minute of a presentation, and you need to be on top of your to-dos. So you feel anxious, you reach out to your phone, to this beautiful app designed by Gmail team, Inbox. This is an interaction. A bunch of these make user experience. This is a dolmuş. Yes, a dolmuş has a place in this room, because that is also a user experience. You are on the roadside in the afternoon maybe, and you need to go somewhere. You feel worried whether or not you're going to reach, or it's rainy, or whatever other contextual reason. Then you wave. This is one movement you make. This is part of dolmuş experience. You're at home. It's early morning. You have to go to work. You love your work, or you don't. But you want to be professional. That's your goal. You feel sharp. You feel strong. You read your alarm clock that's ringing. You press dismiss, tap, choose. You get up. That is user experience. So, I will keep on focusing on the Inbox app, just because I'm in love with it. This is the picture of all the people who made Gmail, Google, Inbox possible. This is the picture of all the people who made the Gmail Inbox experience possible. So, think that these 4 are the designers, experience designers. They're not alone in making the experience. There's a whole team behind it. So, we, user experience designers, only facilitate, envision, detail, lead, coordinate, and, I didn't put it in there, inspire the design and the experience. But it's all the work of these guys. Now we know what I think user experience is. Why do we measure it? Why do we measure interactions in a context at a time when users have a need, goal, or dream? Because we want to improve our product. Because we want to make it better. Google Inbox. All numbers about Google Inbox are made up because I just couldn't get my hands on the data. Next presentation, I hope. You measure it, you get 70% of your users check their emails at least twice an hour between 14 and 18 p.m. through your app. You make a design decision. Instead of bringing notifications to the users all the time, you decide to bring the notifications, show them between 14 and 18, because that's when they want to see if they have new emails. They want to see notifications from people who have already corresponded. 20% of emails are sent are new emails, and a total whole of 80% are existing correspondence. So you only reply to your emails when you send, actually. So when you have a reply to your email, it shows on top. We need user experience metrics because we need to understand and support needs, dreams, and goals of users. We said that we want to stay, as users, we want to stay on top of our game. That's what Inbox does. We measure, we find out something about feeling proud. We say, we feel proud when we have no more emails to address. I personally can never get to that point. That's a whole different aspect. But if you finish to address all the emails, maybe the first day of your email address, then you get, yo, you did a good job, and there's like a sunny, shiny page in there. That's there to motivate you, to show you, yes, you are allowed to be proud. So instead of Inbox investing their time in something they're not sure that will improve the product, they invest their time in making that shiny sun. Another example is that 60% of participants write emails. They have to reply on their to-do list. That means I have an email inbox, and then I have a to-do list, and in my to-do list I have reply X person. But the unread email or pins or stars that already do that, why do I have to repeat that action? Send an email is an action. Why would I have to do it in my to-do list? So if you really feel anxious about this, you will feel proud and happy about yourself if you get the feedback of that huge check. Yes, you did. Good job. This is all informed decisions. Last example, as I repeat, the numbers are made up by me. 82% of users turn the app off sooner than 5 seconds if their emails are not loaded. So they return empty-handed. Do you want to do that to your users? No. So there are many ways of dealing with it. One is partial loading. That's a decision made by Inbox. Another aspect of why we measure user experience through metrics is everyone gets them. So it's easy to talk about. It's objective. This is all the comments I always get when there are no numbers attached about a product user experience. So I hear people saying, well, all our users are satisfied. Okay. But the users don't need that. It's very personal, very subjective. If you can measure it, you can prove it. You know what your users need when you have the numbers. Oh, that's also the last one that's hilarious. Technology has nothing to do with UX. This is awesome. If you're curious, just come back to me after the presentation. I can give you another talk, 45 minutes in Starbucks. So User experience metrics is focusing on these 3 questions. What is positive and negative in this experience? How can I make the experience as I desire it to be? And what shall I measure to understand and or look into to work on? So the first 2 are about improving your product. The last one is about learning yourself about what to improve. How we measure user experience? We do surveys or we get data. Surveys are less reliable source of information, but data is just data. Then you have to really figure out what to do with it. That I'll come back to it at the end of the presentation. So, I believe that what to measure is hard to define. And I believe that as a user experience designer, it should be shared with the whole team. We make it all together. Why not measure it all together? Why do I measure something that a developer makes? Why do I measure something that a marketing professional makes? We all measure the experience all together. So in the end, we have a clear product and technology vision and a better user and user experience understanding. That's the question I ask to the teams I work with. What is the ideal usage scenario, dream experience with our product? You probably have noticed that when you develop something, you have different understandings about the same dream. I'm sure the whole Inbox team has a different idea about what they're making and what is more important and what their users are going through and how the product should be. That could be the developer. No, that could be the marketing business person saying, I wish our users would come back to our product all the time. That could be the developer saying, I wish to present the user a real-time data fast. Oh, I can see some of you being excited about it. That's me. So how do we do that? Okay, we want to do it all together. How do we do it? We envision together. It's really about dreaming together. It's really about being on the same page, then detailing together. That's what I do. I totally am shameless in asking people. In every corner I find them, I ask them this question. I send them emails. I'm telling them, tell me your dreams. Then I get that. I take this comment and I make it in a solid metric. Then I say, yo guys, we have to measure these. And I have an idea about retyping, researching count, how many people are retyping or researching something that I have already typed or searched for, so they didn't get it right in the first place. How many people are browsing for too long for a final solution? How many people are satisfied with their solutions? I give you 3 examples because the first 2 are data, the third one is a survey result. That's also data, but that you cannot really put it in SQL. I have a question for you. Let's say we're developing a fitness tracking app all together to be used daily for daily activities, focusing on daily activities. We all have a dream about the product we're developing. What is our dream? What do you dream that your product will do? I'm going to start. I'm going to say, my dream for this product is to make people feel proud and not focus on what they didn't do, but what they can do. Because I know, as a user experience designer, I did a research and I found out that people are more motivated when you present them what they can do, not really what they miss. You could have got 100. Okay, so I got an 80. You can learn more. That's better. If I were to measure that, how would I measure it? I would put it in a survey, I'll send it out, I'll go interview people, and then I'll find out how many people do actually feel that they're motivated through positive motivations. Yo guys, this is your turn. Is anyone using a fitness tracking app here? What do you dream about your fitness tracking? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kilometers like that, and some gives some numeric data to me, and this makes me happy. And I say my friends I ran 2 kilometers more than before, like that.
So, as a user, you would say, I'm using a fitness tracking app that motivates me through showing me my progress.
Yes.
In numbers, kilometers, time.
Yes.
If we are going to, I'm going to come back to it. If we're going to measure this, how would we measure it? How would we measure if our fitness tracking app is tracking progress properly? We would just look at the numbers if our users are checking the progress screens that we put in the app, and are they looking in the detailed functions? Are they sharing it with their friends? We put on this function to our app, does it work as we want it to be? If not, why not? It works on you. Maybe your friend next to you, she thinks it's sharing it with her social surroundings is very intimidating. What is rewarding for you may not be rewarding for her. What motivates her?
I prefer to run outside because I prefer to run outside because I think running outside is real challenging. But one of the biggest problem running outside is not regular speed of running. I want to change my music tempo with my running speed. An example.
So your dream about the product you're using is
control my music with my tempo.
Have a synchronized music and
yes.
Speed, pace, rhythm.
Yes.
Does our product do that? Can our product do that successfully? How do we measure that? How do you measure if you're developing such a product? How do you measure if the synchronization feature works?
Spotify has a tempo change in music, but it cannot change with my tempo. With a GPS.
So if they actually were measuring your satisfaction, that would be negative.
Yes.
I'm about to finish this presentation. I have some closing thoughts. I talked about quantitative research today, but qualitative research, so asking why, talking to people, I don't believe in focus groups, but generative sessions, observations, all sorts of benchmark research. It is very important because you can understand what's going on through data, through numbers, but you cannot understand why it's going on. People are not pressing the checkout button. Why? People are not logging off your sessions. Why? This is a stomach ache of my professional life. User experience is not usability. User experience metrics are not usability metrics. Usability metrics show how usable a product is, how it's easy to use, how are there errors properly conveyed, is it accessible, is it understandable. User experience is way more broad. Does it satisfy? Does it reach a certain emotional goal? Does it support the user in their journey in life? Last aspect, some resources call this data-driven. You cannot drive anything with data. You can get informed. You can drive things with information and knowledge. That's just wrong. Don't say it. It's called information-driven design. Those are all the credits for visuals I used. Thank you very much. This is the end of the presentation. Now I'll have some questions. If you have any. If you don't, we just go have a coffee. Please.
Hello. In some applications, say like Skype, the application asks you to rate your experience, but in very short way, like say from 1 to 5, how do you rate it? And it is very easy to use, not like write a review for the program, or not like write a long answers or fill up a form. Do you think this is a good user experience decision to ask the user not to take only the data?
This is not a user experience decision.
It's not.
No, what, okay.
Do you think this is a good habit to regularly ask the user who's using the application to rate it, but in really short form, not really fast way, like in WhatsApp when you finish your call, just rate how was you satisfied? Do you think this is a good way to measure the satisfaction for the user experience? Or no,
I don't
we should
think
go
they're
and ask
measuring
them.
user experience. I mean, these kind of questionnaires, they are used, in user experience, they're always used with a why question afterwards. These ratings, they're usually used for marketing purposes. But I think that Skype and WhatsApp, they use these kind of core quality ratings to understand whether they can provide good service at a certain area. So I think it's more technology driven than design driven, this application. So we have to look into the exact use of it. But when I have to research something, I never use a 5-star rating and then just let go. Because the user then is, look, I have no one to turn to if I gave a 1 or a 5. I cannot kiss you if I like you. I cannot turn my back. I just say I like you or I hate you. The interaction is gone.
Okay, thank you.
I hope you got the answer to this question. Any other questions? The back.
Öncelikle sunum için teşekkürler. Ben
Ben teşekkür ederim.
Türkçe sormak istiyorum.
Lütfen. Ben söylemeyi unuttum. Sorularınızı Türkçe sorabilirsiniz. Ben çeviririm her türlü. Teşekkürler inisiyatif aldığınız için.
Şimdi öncelikle sorunun anlattığınız konuyla pek bir ilgisi yok benim soracağım sorunun. Daha çok bilgilerinizden yararlanmak için böyle bir soru soruyorum. Birçok yerde ve bir bankada da çalıştığınızı söylediniz ve daha sonra kullanıcı deneyiminde yoğunlaşarak kendi yolunuzu izlemeye başladınız. Çalıştığım firma yaklaşık bir 5-6 senedir ön yüzlerini değiştirmek için sürekli araştırmalar yapmakta. Ön yüzlerini değiştirebilmek için aldıkları elemanın 5. yılını kutladık. Henüz bir değişim olmadı. Talebi aldığımız yani işlerimizi yaparken talep aldığımız kişilerle onların taleplerini gerçekleştirdiğimiz zaman kullanıcılarımız farklı. Yani talebi yapan belli bir
genelde öyle olur.
belli bir zümre var ama binlerce kişi.
Mobilyaları babaanneler alır, anneler ve çocuklar kullanır genelde.
Aynen öyle. Ve bu arkadaşlar gerçekten kullanıcı deneyimini bize yansıtamamakta ve hep onların üstlerinin istediği şekilde tasarımlar devam etmekte.
Her yerden her yere gidelim, ekranda her şey görünsün.
Aynen öyle. Bir sürü buton, bir sürü text box, bir sürü tıklanacak yer ve kafa karışıklığına neden oluyor. Biz üstlerimize bunu anlatmaya çalıştığımızda pek iyi karşılanmıyoruz. Aynı zamanda yani onların geleneksel bakış açısını pek fazla kıramıyoruz.
Sorunuzu yanlış anlamadıysam bu geleneksel bakış açısıyla nasıl
Mücadele
karşılaşmalıyım
ederiz
diye soruyorsunuz. So
Nasıl
here I'm
mücadele
going to cevabı Türkçe, İngilizce versem takip edebiliyor musunuz?
Benim için fark etmez.
Tamam. So the question is, how can I? Okay, the participant is working in a company where 5 years have gone since they hired someone to fix their interfaces, but nothing has changed. And the question is, how can we deal with this communication situation aspect, where people who are asking for the new interfaces are not the ones who are going to use them. So user experience sensitivity is probably quite low. What I do in my practice is, at first I accept that anyone and everyone's product is only going to be as good as they understand it. So it took me some time, but I realized that innovation happens driven by people who believe and who understand. The other ones just follow. So I stopped fighting. Instead, I started inspiring. That would be my answer.
Teşekkürler.
Any other questions? Please.
I am a design lead in my university club, and this club is IT club.
IT, I love it.
I am a one designer in this club. Everyone is a computer science student, and we are working on a in-club communication app platform, and we have good developers, but maybe we feel on user interface because of not having a design a code. And what can we do, and how can we communicate with developer and designer or UX, and what can you?
Well, what I usually do when I have to communicate in a team, I first try to explain them this is a shared responsibility. I'm just there to lead and coordinate and inspire. So in the end, I make a prototype, but I make it with them. That can be a paper prototype, but I make it with them. If you just take your developer friend, colleague, and you sit next to him and you start drawing, and you ask him to draw as well, or just, play with your papers, that works. They understand what they have to make. Then you make photos, and then you just, just like Marie explained earlier today, you just make a little movie or draw a flow, then everyone understands. When you make it together, it belongs to the team. So user experience is everyone's responsibility. Then in the end, when you want to measure it, when you want to improve it, you end up with people who are more motivated because that's what they made together. Any other questions? Oh, by the way, Please, if you have asked a question, find me. We have these nice goodies like books and stuff for you. I don't know who actually did. Any other question? If there is no question, oh, here you go. Yeah. So you're holding.
Deneme.
Sen.
You have different customers, and maybe they are entrepreneurs, and they have startup companies. What do you say to make them believe they need a UX designer?
As I said earlier, that's a personal approach. I think everyone would work differently, but I decided to not try to convince people. I try to inspire them. I think that's a very, my name is Esin and that's what I do. I try to inspire them. That's how I just tell them, okay, you have this problem in your product, and you're wasting a month in development. Not only money and time, but also motivation of people we've seen in many IT companies. I just tell them, okay, this problem can be solved like this. And if they want to work with me, or if they want to work with any other user experience designer, then they go along. If they're not ready to innovate, then I just let them rest until they bloom. Then they come back. But maybe it's going to be a personal thing in my personal journey, but I usually do not insist on people. If they are ready, they just come to you.
Yeah, because they all want to hear just money part. So if you say them, you can get more customers from
the numbers are very clear for the ones who want to understand. I work with people who look at the same numbers you saw about inbox, and they would make a totally different opposite decision. They would say, oh, people want to reply to their emails that they've already corresponded as fast as possible, so we will just make another app. Because that's what they want, but that's a very, that's a business thing. If they're not ready, then they shouldn't do it.
Thank you.
Any other question? Please.
Merhaba.
Merhaba.
Geri bildirim bu şeyde çok önemli. User design UX'te. Siz bu mesela uygulamanızı birisine denettireceğinizde o kişiyi nasıl seçersiniz? Bir de mesela o kişi size bildirim yaptığında, geri bildirim yaptığında o bildirimi nasıl irdelersiniz, nasıl incelersiniz? Mesela bir kullanıcı bir butonun en basit örnek sağda olmasını isterse diğeri mesela solda istiyor. Siz uygulamanızı nasıl değiştirirsiniz?
As far as I understood your question, you're asking how does one try out their app with the user? If the tested user, participant, asks you to put the button on the right and another user asks to put it on the left, do you put it in the middle? No, you don't put it in the middle. You never do what your users tell you to do. You only do what you see users do. Well, there is a lot of theory about how to test products, and they really differ based on what kind of product you are trying to test. But the practice is usually, if you want data, you ask all your team, so what do you think we should measure? And if you want answers, you just interview and you find users who are as close as possible to your target group.
Mesela bir banka uygulaması yapacaksınız diyelim. Yani bütün genel ortalama müşterilere mi sorarsınız yoksa belli bir kitleyi seçer misiniz içerisinden? Kullanıcıları. Hani denettirme açısından mesela yaptığınızda.
Well, there's one thing. Well, the question is, if you're making a banking application, what kind of users will you try it with? Will you test it with? I would test it. Any user experience designer probably would test it with anyone who's as close as possible to their target group. That's the only answer, basically. I think. I mean, maybe other people have some more. Any other questions? If there are no more questions, I think we could call it a session. Okay? Okay. Thank you.